Welcome to a journey through one of the most practical and profound books ever written. We are standing at the entrance of a collection of collections that has guided leaders and families for over 3 millennia. Today we open the doors to Proverbs chapter 1, the gateway to wisdom. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 1. The book opens with the name of King Solomon. While he is credited as the primary author and compiler, the term Proverbs of Solomon acts more like a title for the entire wisdom tradition he represents. In Solomon's day, wisdom was the crown of education for future leaders. Today, we often value technical degrees or hustle culture. But Proverbs reminds us that true leadership begins with character, not just credentials. For gaining wisdom and instruction, for understanding words of insight, for receiving instruction in prudent behavior, doing what is right and just and fair. Proverbs chapter 1 verses 2 to 3. These verses list the syllabus of the book. The word for wisdom here, Chakma, refers to a high degree of skill, specifically the skill for living. It isn't just about facts. It's about doing what is just and fair. Today we are overwhelmed with information, yet we often lack insight. Biblical wisdom is the patient process of ensuring our actions align with what is right, rather than just what is profitable. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Proverbs chapter 1 verse 7. This is the motto of the entire book. Fear here isn't a paralyzing dread, but a deep-seated reverence and humble submission to God's moral order. Modern secular life often treats ethics as subjective. Proverbs chapter 1 verse 7 argues that if you ignore the Creator, your knowledge is hollow because it lacks an objective foundation. Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. They are a garland to grace your head. Proverbs chapter 1 verses 8 to 9. Wisdom starts at home. The father and mother are presented as equal pedagogues. Their teaching is described as a, quote, wreath or ornament, suggesting that character is the true jewelry of a well-lived life. In the biblical world, parents were the primary moral instructors. Today, we often outsource our children's ethics to media or schools. Proverbs calls parents back to being the sentries of their children's hearts. My son, if sinful men entice you, do not give in to them. They say, come along with us, let's lie in wait for innocent blood. Proverbs chapter 1 verses 10 to 11. This section warns against peer pressure and the lure of easy money. The sinners imagine they are setting a trap for others, but the text reveals they are actually setting an ambush for their own lives. This translates perfectly to modern gang culture or predatory business schemes. The get-rich-quick mindset of the ancient bloody deed is echoed in today's exploitative social structures, where people seek to swallow victims alive for gain. Out in the open, wisdom calls aloud. She raises her voice in the public square. On top of the wall, she cries out. Proverbs chapter 1, verses 20 to 21. Wisdom is personified as a woman crying out in the most crowded places. She isn't hidden in a temple. She is in the marketplace and at the city gates, demanding a response from the simple and the scoffers. In the biblical era, the gates were where news and justice happened. Today, Lady Wisdom is crying out in our digital public squares, the internet and social media, challenging us to choose truth over the noise of modern distractions. Since you reject me when I call, I in turn will laugh when disaster strikes you. Proverbs chapter 1 verses 24-26. These are sobering words. If we mock wisdom during the good times, we won't find her easily when calamity hits. The text introduces intrinsic retribution. Fools eventually eat the fruit of their own ways. We see this today in complacency. We often ignore fundamental truths about health, finance, or relationships until there is a crisis, only to find that the consequences of our long-term waywardness cannot be undone in an instant. But whoever listens to me will live in safety and be at ease, without fear of harm. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 33. The chapter ends on a note of hope. Listening to wisdom provides an inner sense of straightness that protects the mind from the terror of evil. In an age of high anxiety, this is a promise of psychological and spiritual security. While the world searches for peace in ease or wealth, Proverbs chapter 1 verse 33 finds it in a responsive relationship with God's truth. Proverbs chapter 1 tells us that life is a series of choices between two paths. Which path will you walk today? Remember, the fear of the Lord is only the beginning. Join us next time as we dive deeper into the treasures of wisdom.